10 key values of the Green Party. I'd like to start with that. Grassroots democracy. Well, I love and support this. I would hope to make my campaign the activation of democracy in America by asking for a return to good old American volunteerism, which is what built this country and could build it again. Democracy needs volunteers to actually work, not paid figureheads. Power to and from the people. Let's get involved in the politics that control our lives. Let's try something new. Number 2, social justice and equal opportunity. Yes, the needs of the poor need to be addressed and redress made, and our system of representative government should represent all people who make less than $250,000 per year, instead of only represent those who make over that amount as now. If it is indeed to be called a representative republic, I would start with the broken and officially signed treaties between the United States and the Lakota Sioux. Without redress to our hosts, there can be no honest talk about social justice or equal opportunity in America. Number 3, ecological system. I am an organic farmer, a grower of produce and of mac nuts. Macadamia nuts are the perfect protein. They have the right kind of fat and to get brains working. They can feed the hungry children of this world. And if people will get their protein from nuts and not animals, we could end global warming very quickly. Feed the hungry, save water and grains enough to build sustainable wealth in the third world. 4th, nonviolence. Yes, I believe that violence is the last resort of an exhausted mind or a crippled or a corrupted, damaged one. Decade-long wars against countries that have no armies must be unmasked as cover for the transfer of public monies into private hands, which requires a military-industrial complex in place to make that transfer happen on foreign soil. Number 5, decentralization. Yes, I have written and spoken about community-owned banks, credit unions, organic economic diversity, living where you work, buying local, thinking universal, and yes, sharing and caring. It actually works. In fact, it's the most workable system on earth. Common goals and sharing equal the common good. Common good is like common sense. I like it. Number 6, community-based economics and economic justice. This will be great and fun territory to discuss and invent further. We have the tools, the tech, and the know-how. I've written a lot about the growing of hemp and how that is a real solution to economic justice and community-based economics. We can create food, jobs, shelter, fuel, and clothing from hemp for pennies. Number 7, feminism and gender equality, one of my favorite subjects, or 2 of them actually. In America, women are 53% of the population, yet receive only 16% of the representation. Plus, many of those women representatives hate the rights of women for all but themselves and should be ousted as the imposters that they are, but that's another speech for another time. Number 8, respect for diversity. Yes, we need a lot more of that. And I do look forward to traveling to diverse communities around this country and sampling the delicious varieties of food that come with befriending those who are different from yourself. Yum! Friendship is quite tasty and one can learn so much. Again, we can't discuss diversity without including the concept of redress of grievances if we are to be a just people. Number 9, personal and global responsibility. I'm all for that. I want the guilty to take the blame for once. As I said before, it is good to try new things. Number 10, future focus and sustainability. The health and safety of future generations is affected by what we do now and which policies we enact as we move forward. Solving problems, not exploiting them, instead, would be a great first step for the United States government to take. As again, let's try something new. This is my address to the Green Party. To the Green Party. These are sure as hell the times that try women and men's souls. These are the times when more Americans are living close to the poverty line than they have since the last time Wall Street brought us to misery and the brink of ruin during the Great Depression. These are the times when those who peacefully protest the biggest ripoff in human history are arrested on their own streets, while those who pulled this heist off are giving themselves raises. Those people, and I like to get right in their face and ask it, who do you have to be? I am an American citizen who gives a damn and can't believe how upside down things have gotten. That's who I am. They got the poor bailing out the rich, and that is the height of absurdity. These con men have got the chickens voting for Colonel Sanders. Can anybody look me in the eye and tell me that it's less crazy for the people to have to bail out, for the poor people to have to bail out the rich, than it is for me to complain about it? Listen, the fact that I'm not a politician isn't a drawback, it's an advantage. Do I need to know every micro detail about a failed policy like our ridiculous war on drugs to know that anyone who wants to buy some recreational drugs can probably do it, and that all we're doing is making money for dangerous drug dealers and locking up users at a cost higher than a college education? The drug laws are written for the benefit of drug lords, and it is a war on marijuana smokers mostly. My God, yes, the emperor is indeed naked as a jaybird, and I say he needs to go in the house and put some damn pants on. Let's cut right to the chase and get past the Coke versus Pepsi issues and straight to the bread and butter, or meat and potatoes if you're still eating meat issues. Everybody knows it's the economy, stupid. That wasn't my line. That goes all the way back to the Clinton days. But here's what I'd like to know, and I don't need a PhD in economics to make good old common sense when it comes to asking the right questions. On the day before a big market crash or an economic crisis or whatever they want to call it, what happens that's so damn fundamentally catastrophic? Does the sun decide to stop shining? Do the chickens decide to stop laying eggs? Do crops stop growing in the fields? Do people decide they're not going to show up for work? The truth is, it always seems to just come down to some giant, almost overnight tsunami of you-know-what, hitting the fan in the heart of Banksville or Wall Street, where most every single horrible thing on earth originates. These money-manipulating geniuses play their games with everybody's home values, livelihoods, savings, pensions, and all the rest of the stuff that people who actually do real work so hard for. They work us, these guys that play the money manipulation games all day with other people's money. They work us and they play us. Remember not so long ago how every other ad on TV that wasn't for boner pills or bouncy hair or big giant cars that looked like little buses was for home equity loans? It was all over the radio and the internet too. You're sitting on a small fortune, they told us. Why put off those dream vacation and room additions and that nice new car when First Fidelity, Financial Trust, and Consolidated Con Artists can write you a nice big check for doing nothing but taking some of the big dollars out of that big piggy bank you're living in? What they didn't tell millions of Americans that they convinced to take a second mortgage was that they would be putting their homes halfway in the banker's pockets by letting him get his name on their deed. Well, nowhere on cable or network TV was there one voice warning working Americans that they were being set up as prey for predators, because that's what deregulation is all about. The con by the con man and the insurance salesmen who are in control of this government and of our healthcare system right now. Before I go any further, one question. Are those people that told you that your home was worth more than you ever dreamed, by any chance, hooked up or acquainted with those other people? I'm talking about the ones who came along after the second mortgage and told you that your house is worth a whole lot less than you owe on it. Are they in the same business? Can you say Geithner, boys and girls? They're playing around with people's hard-earned money business. This system is not broken. Stop saying it's broken. It's fixed, as in rigged. It is rigged. It's no different from down-home, everyday predatory lending, and they never do anything to fix that, because fixing even one problem in this government would mean the richest of the rich could no longer enrich themselves further on not solving the problem. Can you believe it's been damn near 4 years since we all cheered wildly at the prospect of hope and change in our country? Feels like the audacity of hope was more like the audacity of talking about hope and change. Have the poor gotten richer and the rich gotten poorer? Did we get the meaningful health care reform we were promised? Is our social safety net less or more shredded than it was 4 years ago? Some people say, hey, Roseanne, you made a lot of money back when your show was on TV. Aren't you one of the 1%? Well, when we talk about the 1%, we're talking about that very top elite 1% of the 1% who hold real power. The power to buy politicians like Agent Orange John Boehner, who blabber on about what the American people want and expect from their leaders, who do nothing but perpetuate gridlock. Gridlock is not an obstacle for our politicians, it's a strategy. While the Demo-Publicans and the Republicrats yell across the aisle at each other about who's trying harder to serve the American people and protect their interests, it seems like more people are losing their homes and their jobs, and more people with homes that may be underwater from all those years of trickle-down economics. That's where the rich pee on the poor, I guess. Now they're having their adult kids move back in with them. A lot of these kids aren't any crazier about that idea of living with their parents, and their parents are, but they can't fund jobs. And lots of them are staggering under big student loan debt. So homeowners and consumers are buried under debt. Young people coming out of college struggling under debt. The whole country struggling under debt in this form of this enormous deficit they tell us our grandkids will be struggling with. And who does everybody owe this money to? This money that we haven't made yet? Lots of people think our biggest creditor is China. And that's because our biggest creditor probably likes us to think that way. But the truth is, our biggest creditor is elite bankers. The Federal Reserve, the same people that yank money in and out of the system and seemingly create it out of thin air. Well, I have a suggestion for taking the biggest bite out of the federal deficit that they parked over our heads like a big dark cloud with no end. In the spirit of American ingenuity and do-it-yourselfness, well, why don't we just tell the Federal Reserve to print up some extra money and pay themselves off on our behalf? Well, we'd be forever indebted to them, without being forever indebted to them, if you get my meaning. Oh, they'll still be filthy rich and connected. But let's take a look at their partners and patrons over on Wall Street. Wall Street. Mr. Obama, tear down that wall. Let's nationalize the Federal Reserve's reserve currency. Let's start there. It's our money and not theirs. The Republicans call Social Security a Ponzi scheme. Well, I'll show you a Ponzi scheme. It was a scheme that George W. Bush was trying to pull when he wanted to hand our Social Security over to Wall Street. Wouldn't that have been a great idea? Who am I to talk about running for president? Well, I'll tell you, I have one impeccable credential. I'm not George W. Bush. The members of his party running now that are telling us the way to make this country stronger and better and more righteous is to keep shredding our social safety while asking the richest among us to contribute even less. They're job creators? What have they been waiting for? Are they waiting for the free market to kick in there? The free market? What does that mean? Free to pick up our jobs and move them to China? Because that's what it looks like so far. But no, free market is a code word for slavery. That's what it really means. No regulations on slavers and slavery. That's what free markets really mean. No shot. Here's a question that begs answering. Where would the rich be without the working poor? Who would feed them and raise their kids and make the lights come on when they flip the switch on the wall? Without the working poor, the rich would starve to death. They don't know how to grow things or cook them or serve themselves. They don't know that they should share with the very people who take care of their lives. They can't even get that much through their head. They are mostly damaged beyond hope. And as they starve to death there in the dark, where they will no doubt be sitting alone after they have their way, they will still be thinking of nothing but new ways to trick other people out of decent wages and health coverage. They should not, one of them, be allowed near any government body or for any people anywhere. Are they people? Are predators human? We will need to reevaluate and revalue everything. Now that there is no hope for any of us under the huge, dying, bloated beast of unfettered capitalism. It's falling all around us, and it's not going to get back up without slavery to fuel it. That's how it works, and that's what they want. Privatized prisons for free labor. Labor camps, like Bergen-Belsen was a labor camp, which was the doorway to Auschwitz, the blueprint of the model city of the industrial masters of man. So let it fall. Don't try to hold it up or patch it up. Just show up and witness the end of the system of slavery. And be prepared to create a more just permaculture right now in order to survive what is coming to America after this next election, no matter who wins or loses, unless it's the Greens. You want audacity? Well, I got your audacity. And it is the audacity of truth, not hope. In the words of Mary Daly, there is no liberty without truth. Glory, hallelujah, may the light of reason dawn on America. This is a solution, this is a list of 10 solutions to our problems that I'd like to read through very quickly. A lot of these are from Cynthia McKinney, the last nominee of this party for President of the United States. 1. Enactment of a foreclosure moratorium now before the next phase of interest rate increases take effect. 2. Elimination of all armed mortgages and a renegotiation into 30 or 40 years loans. 4. Establishment of criterion construction goals for affordable housing. 5. Redefinition of credit and regulation of the credit industry so that discriminatory practices are completely eliminated. Not debated, eliminated. 6. Full funding for initiatives that eliminate racial and ethnic disparities in home ownership. Eliminate, not negotiate. Eliminate. 7. Recognition of shelter as a right according to the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, to which the United States is a signatory, so that no one sleeps on the streets in America, not in the richest country. Number 8. Full funding of a fund designed to cushion the job loss and provide for retraining of those at the bottom of the income scale as the economy transitions into new economy. Green tech, growing food, organic stuff. This is a whole other speech I've got about how we return America to being the breadbasket of the world as it was once before the Monsanto company got hold of our government, like that same family has had hold of the Electoral College in the South since slave times. Number 9, close all tax loopholes and repeal the Bush tax cuts from the 1% of income earners. And number 10, fairly tax corporations. Fairly tax them for the roads and the resources they use up. And it's a lot. They use more than anybody else, and they pay for none of it. They got to pay their share. They can't be on those roads that we own. I will deny federal subsidies to those who relocate jobs overseas, and we also need to repeal NAFTA. Those are the 10. There's more. Forgiving student loans will help stimulate the economy and the housing market. These kids will get out of their parents' house. It's stimulus. But you know what? They don't want really any problem solved, and I see that now. They just want to continue on with their privatizing public money into private pockets. We can't let them do it. Thank you.